Welcome to our Score Editor tutorial. First of all, let's create a MIDI part. Grab the pen and draw a part. Now select MIDI. Open Score Editor. Before converting your MIDI part to a score, keep in mind what sounds good as MIDI may look clumsy when converted to a score. You may want to copy the MIDI part and over-quantize it, or even re-record the part altogether and remove what is called the human touch before starting to work on your score. From the score menu, you can switch between edit modes and page modes. Use the scroll bar in edit mode and these up and down arrows in page mode to navigate through your score. Clicking on the ruler will bring up the Position Info window. The Zoom menu is right here. Or you can use the magnifying lens. Click or select a region. To zoom out, hold the Alt key and click. To correct the number of bars per staff, select Score, Layout Functions, Number of bars. Now let's insert a few notes. Click the Insert Note button in the toolbar. Select a quarter note and the appropriate quantize value. I'm going to choose quarter note step. And let's insert a few notes. Cubase will insert rest symbols automatically. The mouse position display will help you insert notes in the appropriate place. The info line displays information about your selected note. Let's insert an eighth note. You'll notice that Cubase is inserting the notes at the quarter note position. To fix this, change your quantize value to 1/8. To change your note value, select the note, hold the Control key, and select a different note value here. Another way to change your note length is like this. Select the Note tool and the note value. Hold the Alt key and click on the note value which you want to change. To string notes together, use the glue gun and to remove a tie, use the split tool. Right-click on a note head. This will bring up a pop-up window where you can select a different note head. Double-clicking on a note will bring up the Set Note Info window. Here you can change the note's appearance and other related parameters. To reposition a note, simply grab it and drag it to a new position. The Score Editor is not just a simple drawing tool, it is a real-time editor. Open your key editor And you can see that manipulating events in the key editor affects corresponding events in the score editor in real time. Look at the info line in the key editor and the score editor. You can see they display information about MIDI events and notes in virtually the same way. But if MIDI notes are defined by pitch, position, length, and velocity, to define notes in the score, you obviously have to have more parameters. The point here is this. As I mentioned earlier, not every MIDI part is good material for the score editor. The human touch or irregularities in performance make music sound good, but doing that makes your score look very confusing. Back to the score editor. These two buttons let you insert triplet and dotted notes. An enharmonic shift lets you change the appearance of the note. For example, C sharp can appear as D flat. Select the note, double-click on the pitch value, and type C sharp. Press Enter. Click on Enharmonic Shift Flat button, and C sharp appears as D flat. The Off button will bring a note to its original position. Press the No button, and C sharp becomes C. To edit a clef, double-click on the clef. Use this scroll bar to choose the appropriate clef. Get Info brings up a dialog window of the object you've selected. For example, select the time signature and click the Get Info button. The Edit Time Signature dialog window pops up. Here you can specify the numerator and denominator. You have options to use a compound time signature also. If For Grouping Only is checked, the numerator will show as a sum of these numbers. This button here lets you flip the note's stem. This button groups the notes together. To change the graphical appearance, use this button. Before I explain these three buttons, let's select Preferences, Event Layer submenu, and let's move the bar numbers to the second layer. Click OK. Right-click on the button 2. The bar numbers are selected here. If I deactivate this button, the bar numbers become locked. Activate this button, and now you can move the bar number. This button works with the layout layer, and this one with the global layout layer. Now let's record something. Let's create a second MIDI track. and call it baritone saxophone. And now I'm going to record some sample music. Now let's record the saxophone. Select both parts, and let's open the score editor. Let's clean up our score a little. Double-click here. The staff settings window for piano opens. Our smallest note was a quarter. Now select the polyphonic tab. From the staff mode drop-down menu, select split. Cubase will split the score at C3. And so now we have our treble and bass clefs. Click apply. The piano line looks pretty good. Let's fix the saxophone line now. Double click on the staff. We see that the staff name appears. The smallest note I played was a quarter. But I do see here some mistakes. I see some dotted notes. Apply. Now it looks better. Now let's transpose our saxophone. From this drop-down menu, I'm going to select baritone sax. You can see in the display transpose field, I see that I'm going 21 semitones up. Click apply. Now everything seems okay. Close this. If you want to insert any extra symbols, select Scores, Symbol Palettes, Dynamics. Let's add some crescendos. Right-click, and right-click again. Right-click on the palette and choose Toggle. Right-click and choose a different palette. If you hold the Control key down, a new palette window will open. To hide the symbols, select them and press the Hide button. To unhide, check the Hides checkbox in the filter strip. Select the word Hide and press the Delete key on your keyboard. If you need a few different sets of scores, for example, one for piano and one for saxophone, and one for when both of these instruments go together, the layout function becomes very handy. To navigate between layouts, go Scores, Layouts, and choose one. You can navigate between layouts from the layout lists as well. Choose Layout, click the Show button. You can also double-click and rename the layout. Okay, close this window. Select Scores, Layouts, Setup. Here you can adjust the parameters for the currently selected layout. Now a few words on polyphonic voicing. This segment looks a little clumsy. We can improve its appearance by turning this E into a whole note. Here we have two different instruments, but it is hard to understand what's what. So let's start by setting up the voices. Click here and click the Get Info button. The Staff Settings dialog box will open. Select the Polyphonic tab, and from the Staff Mode drop-down menu, choose Polyphonic. Here you can set up to 8 different voices. 3 different presets you can choose right here. Here's where you activate and deactivate the voices. Choose the channel. If you do indeed need a channel, in most cases the channel doesn't matter. Q. This makes the notes look smaller. These 3 columns let you choose how rests will appear. And here you can decide the stem direction, up or down. Click Apply. Now click on the staff, and here you see on the extended toolbar voices 1 and 2, and 2 empty buttons for voices 3 and 4, which are not active right now. Select the bass staff. Now you see voices 5 and 6, 7 and 8 are not active. Let's select these 4 quarter notes. Select Scores, move to Voice 1. And now the 4 quarter notes have become one whole note. Here, let's select these notes, hold the Control key, and click on the Voice 2 button. Let's move these notes to voice number 1. And these notes here, we will move to voice number 2. Another way to distribute our notes is by using the Explode function under Scores, Global Functions. Choose 2 polyphonic voices. Split note. This will move the notes below C3, in this case, to another voice. Lines to tracks. This option separates notes in different logical musical lines into different voices. Bass to lowest voice. This does what it sounds like. It moves the lowest note to the lowest voice. To enter notes in 2 voices, select the voice, select the note, to merge a few tracks together in a track with polyphonic voices, select the tracks, open the tracks in the Score Editor, select Scores, Global Functions, merge all staves. Cubase will create a new track with different polyphonic voices assigned to notes from different tracks. Now let's convert the voices to different tracks. Select Scores, Global Functions, Extract Voices. Here you see that Cubase has created 4 different tracks. Each track contains the notes from the different voices. And this concludes our overview of the score editor. We've really just scratched the surface of the score editor. This is a very powerful and useful tool. There's obviously a lot to this in Cubase. The good news is that Cubase has a very detailed manual on this, which I know you will find very helpful. This concludes our segment on the score editor.